Good afternoon. I'm Mark Allen with Gaper.io, and I'm here today with Amy Serlin, a VP of Sales at the Goodway Group. Good afternoon, Amy. How you doing?
Oh, good afternoon, Mark. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Happy to be here. I appreciate you inviting me.
Well, thank you for joining us today. So to start with, can you share a brief background of yourself and your work experience?
Yeah, sure. I am a Michigan girl, so we do all things that good Michigan natives do. We start in automotive in some way, shape, or form. I've been in marketing my entire career. I started with the agencies, Kimberly Wald, BBDO, and then moved to Atlanta in 2000 to help run a small division for Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram through BBDO. And agency account work for the majority of, we'll call it my first 15 years. And then moved over into the sales side with Goodway in 2010. And coincidentally, I'd been a client of Goodway's almost my entire career.
Well, how long has Goodway been in business?
That's a great question. We were actually founded in 1929. My current owner's great-grandfather started as a printing press, and over the years we have evolved, touching just about every possible medium you can imagine, and went fully digital, I think 2009, and have been steamrolling forward ever since.
Interesting. You started in 29. If I remember right, that wasn't a very good year for business. And then 2009, you switched to digital, which also was not a very good year.
There's a trend here, Mark.
Yeah, and you're still doing well. That's great.
That's great.
So what has been your experience with remote employment? I know you started as a remote employee with Goodway, correct?
Yeah, I did. So listen, it's a little bit crazy. I've thought a bit about this, and it's interesting when I look back. I had a commute. I'm in Atlanta still, so dealing with Atlanta traffic is probably much like dealing with traffic in San Francisco, a bit hectic and a little crazy. And I was commuting downtown every day for the first 10 years I've been here. So when I moved into Goodway Group and transitioned into a fully remote company, it was a big change. And one, it took some time getting used to. We had a 2-year-old at that time. And finding the new normal was a bit awkward. My husband was still going to an office at that time too. It's fantastic. I don't know that I could go back to an office, as I'm experiencing just the ability to control my schedule and be on top of the things that not only keep me productive at work, but at home too.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I've been working from home for over 10 years. I did 1 year where I commuted into the city of San Francisco, and that was enough.
Yeah, I can imagine. It is, traffic is no joke. But well, then let me ask you this. I'll ask you a quick question if that's okay. So when you were commuting, did you find when you moved back into a remote situation, did you miss the commute at all? Because
No.
I found, no, not even a little bit.
No, it's 2 hours a day.
Oh, okay.
For some, it should have taken 25, 30 minutes, took over an hour. Then you have to find parking, and then.
Yeah, no, never mind.
Yeah.
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 Mine was bad. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. So, and there were times when I had to go through the Bay Bridge, depending on where I was coming from, and that's just the most horrible commute in the whole Bay Area. So, no.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So now that we're both remote employees, what do you think is the future of remote employment, and what do you think could be done differently to make it more effective?
Well, another good question. So, look, I think as a workforce, we were moving more towards remote than not. I think the pandemic helped pull that initiative forward a bit quicker than I think most were ready for. But the future of remote for me, when I look at the industry, and look, it was rough coming out of the gate, and we see it with our schools today. It's rough with education, but we're working through the nuances, and I think we're finding a new level of productivity, a new level of time to balance life and work, a new level of opportunity to focus on self-care and mental health. And, you had asked me about that transition into going remote. One of the toughest things for me, I'm a workhorse. So one of the toughest things for me right out of the gate was shutting the computer off, because there's always an email, there's always a phone call, there's always a text message. The connectivity is through the roof, even in 2010. But I think those that have gotten pushed into a remote environment, you learn to navigate that. You learn to shut that door, and your new commute is out the office and into the kitchen.
Yes.
So yeah, for me, I truly believe that remote is going to be the future. What that looks like for all companies obviously is going to be different as people are going back in phases, but I think that opportunity to have work from home, work-life balance, be a bit more accepted.
Mm-hmm. And it was interesting. I mean, you talk about the way it changed your life. I remember when I first went remote, what I did to make sure that because there were days when I would not get out of my pajamas till after lunch, right?
Yeah.
But what I did was I joined a gym,
Oh,
and I had the discipline that 4 out of 5 days a week, I went to that gym at 5:30 at night.
amazing.
So I had the opposite schedule of everybody. Instead of, in the morning, you're right, the 20-foot commute.
Right.
But then I had the commute I would leave when everyone else was going home. I was actually leaving and going to the gym. So it was good for my health and good for my mental well-being.
Well, it is good. The gym's shut now. I thankfully have a Peloton. So I am downstairs or walking my dogs on most days that at least get me out of the house a little bit. But yeah, that pajama thing right out of the gate, it was easy to stay in those clothes for a little bit longer than we should be.
Yes, and for the record, I am actually wearing pants. I'm not wearing pajamas.
I actually brushed my hair today. It's a big win.
Oh, I even showered, I think.
Me too.
So what is the story behind Goodway Group? What's your base product? Who's your target audience? All those things.
Yeah, I know that. Listen, we are a digital marketing agency. Everyone is our client. So when we think about the type of work that we're doing, we run the gamut from all things programmatic to absolutely any digital need that you have, we have a solve for. Our clients range from Fortune 500 companies to individual localized marketing opportunities. So we can take that tier 1 all the way down to the localized level very easily.
Oh, wow. And since you're in sales, what's your particular expertise or vertical?
So one of the things, if you don't mind, I'll digress for 1 second. Being from Michigan and having so much automotive experience, one of the really attractive things about coming to Goodway for me, moving into a sales role, which I hadn't done before, was the opportunity to work on bigger brands and bigger clients. And I was really going to branch out, and I was really going to go after different verticals. And I found myself again right back with automotive, but with a twist this time, right? So I love that tier 1 national presence, national conversation, but what I really enjoy doing is that localized level marketing. So tying and integrating that national message, both with a localized look and feel. So the opportunity to educate, the opportunity to influence, a store owner, a dealership, a jewelry franchise, the marketing that they're doing is really fulfilling for me. So over time, I built more and more of a book of business surrounding that type of work. And as a company, we decided that there was a real need in the marketplace for this type of niche. And we have built out an entire team across the nation. I was fortunate enough to help kick off, and I manage today that services from that tier 1 to tier 3 localized feel.
Interesting. Well, there's a tier 1 manufacturer not too far from me, Tesla. Do you by chance have them as a customer?
I would love to, Mark. Any chance for an introduction?
Well, as soon as I do a podcast with Elon Musk, I'll introduce you. How's that?
Thank you. Done. Move on.
All right.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and actually the plant is, 25
Really?
mile. Yeah, it's about 25 minutes from here, right down the 880. I used to drive by it all the time.
That's just cool.
Used to be the old GM and GM Toyota plant, the NUMMI plant.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Interesting.
I love
So, you joined Goodway Group as a remote employee. What was that onboarding process like, especially after you're used to the normal, and well, I didn't say the normal, the traditional way of doing it.
Yeah. Looking back, and it feels some days like yesterday and other days like I've never been anywhere else. The onboarding process was really well done when I think about just the newness, really. Not many companies had remote workforces at that time.
Mhm.
But Goodway, and again, I was a very early employee, did such a wonderful job. I remember they flew me up into Jenkintown, which is where we still had a home office. And I went through some training within the office, but everything from process, procedure, onboarding clients, discussing any type of opportunity or connecting with the teams was really well done. We were doing video conferencing and calls just like this far earlier. That became my normal. And I never felt that need. You know, I'm a very social person. I breathe in the energy of everyone around me. I love being in a room. I love presenting, but I never really found that I lost that ability to connect with coworkers because, again, the normal for the entire team was being remote. So that was, I say all they knew. Most of us probably came from brick and mortar.
Yeah.
But
and where is Jenkintown?
Pennsylvania.
Ah, okay. Near Philadelphia by chance?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is that terrible? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, mom lives in Philadelphia. That's why I always ask. So.
Nice. Yeah, I think not too far.
Yeah, probably. Oh, okay. So the ongoing pandemic forced pretty much the whole world to go remote in mid-March of this year. You already were remote, but did that cause any roadblocks or challenges that you didn't expect for you or for your customers?
Challenges and opportunities. One of the things that I love most about this company is the overwhelming desire to not only excel and be great at everything we do, but continually give back. So one of the first things that our company did was create webinars, materials that focused on best practices and made it public to everyone. So we worked with quite a few companies right out of the gate to help get them set up. So for us, it was a good opportunity to share all of the learnings and experiences that we'd had of what works, what doesn't work, what landmines to be mindful of, and look at building that level of trust and building that level of communication with a workforce when you're used to walking in and grabbing a coffee or having water cooler chit chat all day. It can be tough. My heart goes out. But it also created some challenges that I too wasn't even thinking to be prepared for in terms of pitching or metrics reviews. I travel quite a bit. I mean, I'm that person that's gone on a plane almost every week, at least a couple days, but I love it. And so the inability to read the room, the inability to pick up the nonverbal cues or the this or the this, that's tough, especially if people aren't going on video or if they're not, in a place that we can see them. That was a big challenge for me. That's still somewhat of a challenge for me.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. There's been stuff, published about this. Like, if you see someone do this on a meeting,
right? I'm like, oh, how do you do? I'm totally paying attention. Got it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, everyone started. It's a different type of body language, right?
Right.
So,
right.
Upper body language. So, well, to end with, I'll just ask you a quick question. At Gaper, we help build and scale products, for companies of all sizes. How important do you think that will be going forward for companies that need to build, software or systems or services, and they need to do it quickly with the right talent?
I think the need for what you're providing in the market is far greater today than ever. The need is immediate, especially as you're thinking about launching e-commerce or you're dealing with remote work, just like we're talking about today. The need is very great for everyone around every possible situation, especially given not knowing what direction this is going to end up going.
Yes, eventually. So, well, Amy, this has been a joy. I really enjoyed talking to you today.
Thank you, Mark. Me too.
Have a great day.
Do the same. Bye.